everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040, and welcome to another edition of the Daredevil Born Again Season 1 review series. And today I am going to be talking about Episode 3, The Hollow of His Hand, which I have just finished watching. And this episode was really good. I really enjoyed this one a lot. This was highly emotional, super serious, and a change of pace for the Daredevil character. This for me was a nice treat to see Matt Murdock come out on top as a hero. Not in costume, but as a defense lawyer, because this episode pretty much showed Matt Murdock on a one man mission to prove the innocence of his client, Hector Ayala, who was framed for a crime that he did not commit, and Matt Murdock was pulling all of his skills, all of his knowledge, and was gathering up the evidence he needed to prove his client's innocence. And I really enjoyed that because we've seen this sort of thing before. Matt Murdock as a defense lawyer, which he performs to the best of his ability, but I really enjoyed this one a lot. We got to see Matt Murdock using his head and not necessarily beating people to a bloody pulp, which he normally would, but it was just nice to see that side of the Matt Murdock character. And, this episode had a very strong law and order theme, which I like it, that sort of courtroom drama, you know, arguing with other lawyers, arguing with the judge. I like that sort of drama when it's done very well. And we didn't really see Matt Murdock in the suit, but I think with this episode, I'm not saying that seeing Matt Murdock in the suit would have hurt this episode. It probably would have been very good, but I think with this kind of episode, Daredevil himself in costume wasn't really needed. I felt this was more Matt Murdock's story, and I would even go as far as to say that this was Matt Murdock's victory instead of Daredevil's victory. So I like that aspect a lot. And, this season, even though now we're 3 episodes in, has been remarkably strong. It's a little bit different to the Netflix shows, but it still retains a lot of that classic hallmark that made the Daredevil shows so special. And this was very good, very well executed. And if Hell's Kitchen is the playground of Daredevil, then the courtroom is the domain of Matt Murdock. There are very few people in the entire world who can go toe to toe with Matt Murdock in the courtroom and survive. And if you don't believe me, ask She Hulk. She got absolutely owned by Matt Murdock. And like I said, Matt Murdock, he is the ruler of the courtroom. He knows the system better than anyone. He knows the book like the back of his hand. And I thought this episode did a brilliant job in showcasing the defense lawyer side of Matt Murdock's character. And I thought it came across very strong and was very well written. So I'm going to give a little quick recap of what happened so far. And then after that, we're going to get straight into talking about episode 3, The Hollow of His Hand. So, as we saw previously in episode 2, we saw Hector Ayala get involved in a fight with two guys who were beating up someone. At first, he thought they were just random thugs, but they revealed themselves to be cops. And one of the cops accidentally falls off a platform, thus getting hit by a running train. And Hector Ayala is more or less framed for a crime that he didn't commit, which of course was murder. And Matt Murdock takes on the case and takes on Hector as his client, and even going out of his way to defend him, even though Hector has already said that I can't afford you, I don't need a defense lawyer. But Matt Murdock senses that he is hiding something, even though he knows Hector is telling the truth. And we see throughout that episode, Matt Murdock is trying to help Hector, trying to piece together exactly what has happened. And Hector explains to Matt Murdock that I didn't know they were cops. You know, I had no idea because they were attacking this random person who turned out to be Nicky Torres. And Matt Murdock was able to track down Nicky Torres to his apartment and warn him that two cops were coming after him to kill him. And then, as he helped Nicky escape, we would see Matt Murdock more or less beat these cops to a bloody pulp. And you almost got this sense of relief that Matt Murdock had been dying to get his hands bloody and break some bones for quite some time. And he just let out this massive scream, almost like a sense of relief that, damn, that felt really good. And that's pretty much how we ended episode 2. So, with that all said, let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about episode 3, The Hollow of His Hand. So we see Matt Murdock visits Hector Ayala at his cell, and as the two talk about Ayala's memories of Puerto Rico, Murdoch promises him that he will soon be free and reunited with his family. We also see tension within the five families continues to rise, which leads to a full on gang war and culminates with a double murder at Red Hook Pier. And we see Wilson Fisk and his wife Vanessa talk about business at breakfast. While Fisk understands that his wife does not want to sit idly by, he reaches for higher goals. Sheila Rivera informs Fisk about the incident at the port, and Vanessa says that five families keep going at each other because neither of them is present to maintain the order. Fisk shows that he is unbothered and would rather have all of them kill each other, but Vanessa warns him that whoever is left standing will come after Fisk. Before the trial, Murdoch is confronted by Powell, who threatens to speak out about their past confrontation and Murdoch interfering with the investigation. Murdoch responds by pointing out that Powell was engaged in witness tampering, which is a much more serious offence, so Powell is forced to back down. We see Benjamin Hochberg summons Powell to the stand, and he testifies about Ayala attacking him and Kel Shanahan unprovoked, resulting in the latter's death. Murdoch cross-examines him, inquiring about Nicky Torres being absent from Powell's testimony, while hearing the officers in court talking about not letting Torres to testify. As Murdoch openly accuses Powell, Cherry and Forrest Tam work on getting Torres to the courthouse so he could testify in Alia's favour. Powell stops Cherry by finding out no one in his van, as they anticipated it, and Cherry acts as a ruse, while Tam successfully brings Torres in. Murdoch takes a statement from Torres, however, he suddenly goes back on his word and claims that he was not present at the station that night. Murdoch lashes out and tries to pressure Torres into telling the truth about what really happened, but Hochberg and Jerry Cooper force him to stand down, and Murdoch withdraws Torres as a witness. Buck Cashman meets with the five family members and talks about settling the conflicts between them, paying out restitution for the truck hijacking. Luca refuses to listen to Cashman and demands Fisk to come out and talk to him personally, to which Cashman replies that he works for Fisk directly, not just at the mayor's side. Fisk and Vanessa attend a therapy session, and Fisk asks her to tell him about sending Cashman to settle business with the five families. Fisk says that Vanessa trying to maintain the peace is admirable, but chaos is also needed to build a stronger order, while Vanessa thinks that her husband is trying to punish her for her past affair. At the office, Murdoch talks with Kristen and Cherry about Tory's stunts, and Cherry suggests that the New York City Police Department must have pressured him somehow. McDuffie tries to think of anything they could use, but Murdoch remarks that without Tories on their side, their whole defense goes down the drain. He then says that their only remaining option is to get Ayala to take a stand and testify in his own words, hoping that it will be enough to reach out to the jury. Ayala testifies to the court, claiming that he saw Torres being beaten up by Powell and Shea Hannon, and he only wanted to help, With Shanahan's death being an accident, Murdoch talks about Ayala being used to risk his life to help another, and before McDuffie realizes his angle and stops him, Murdoch reveals to the courts that Ayala is really the White Tiger. Cooper adjourns the trial and summons both Murdoch and Hochberg to his chamber, cheering up both of them for their stunt, as previously got Cooper to keep Ayala's vigilantism off the record. Murdoch claims that his witness was tampered with, so he had no choice to out Ayala being the White Tiger, and it shows the pattern of his good character. Cooper has no choice but to continue the proceedings, and a frustrated Hochberg warns Murdoch that the DA's office will not forget what he did. Ayala tells Murdoch that he should have talked to him first, as the White Tiger was not his secret to reveal. Murdoch explains that he understands this, but says that he needed to keep Ayala out of prison, while saying that if he does get acquitted, he can no longer be a vigilante. Ayala replies that being the White Tiger is something more to him than just putting on a costume, to which Murdoch assures him that he would not miss it as much, speaking from personal experience. With Ayala's secret out of the bag, Murdoch and McDuffie present testimonies from civilians and other police officers who have received help from the White Tiger in the past. Hochberg tries to convince the jury that just because Ayala did some good, it does not clear him of killing the police officer. Eventually, the jury reaches the verdict, and Ayala is found not guilty on all counts, much to Ayala and Murdoch's joy. Murdoch invites Heather Glenn to his place to celebrate and recalls how he and Foggy Nelson always used to keep a whiskey bottle for the cases they won, as a reminder that sometimes the system can work. Watching the news of Ayala being not found guilty, Fisk talks to Daniel Blake and orders to arrange him another meeting with BB Urich, and Fisk gives Urich an interview calling Ayala's acquittal a miscarriage of justice, despite Urich noting that it was a decision made by the judge and the jury. Fisk argues that he knows well that the justice system is flawed and the vigilantes are a threat that he will take seriously as the mayor. We see Ayala puts on his white tiger suit and goes on the street to help people, but gets ambushed by a gunman sent by Fisk, who is wearing the Punisher's skull insignia on his vest, who shoots Ayala dead in the head and quietly walks off. And that wraps up my review on episode 3, The Hollow of His Hand. Overall, this was a fantastic episode. Loving the courtroom drama aspects and the law and order theme that was going on throughout this episode. Tremendous stuff. And this was an excellent showcase for the defense lawyer persona of Matt Murdock's character. And as I said at the beginning, I look at this episode as Matt Murdock's victory, not Daredevil. And Matt Murdock coming out on top as the hero and not in costume was a nice change of pace, I think. And even though Wilson Fisk is now the mayor, you can still see that he hasn't fully given up his life of crime, as he is still getting his hands dirty, but just doing it in a different way. But I thought this was very well done, very well executed, and this is definitely setting up for an appearance from the Punisher. If and when we do see him, it's going to be ugly and it's going to be epic and it's going to be really good in terms of how they'll use the Punisher going forward. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What did you guys think of episode 3, The Hollow of His Hand? Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy the courtroom drama that was featured throughout this episode? And did you like the fact that Matt Murdock was showcased as a defense lawyer and achieving the victory out of costume? And how will Matt Murdock react to Hector being shot by someone who was wearing the Punisher's skull insignia? Will this spur him on to become Daredevil? And what plans does Fisk have for the vigilantes? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Daredevil Born Again Season 1 review series, where I'm going to be talking about episode 4, which I'm very much looking forward to talking about, especially with the way this entire episode played out and the way it's ended. It's going to be a lot of fireworks and a lot of fun to see. So until next time, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.